Hey guys, in today's video, I'll be going through all the mandatory poses and telling you who I believe was the best in each one. A few of you guys have been requesting this video for some time now, so I thought it would be a very fun video to make. Now, I can't keep this one 100% unbiased, as a lot of it will be pretty subjective, but I will try to objectively critique the poses and explain my reasoning behind them. Before the video starts, though, if you want to continue seeing videos just like this, please consider liking and subscribing, as it helps grow my channel. With that all being said, let's get into this video. The front double biceps is the first mandatory pose you see, apart from the front, side, and rear relaxed poses, which I won't really be considering. There are so many variables to consider in the front double. You have the midsection, the arms, lat flare, quad size, and sweep, and the overall X-frame and V-taper. Immediately, I think of Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman, Derek Lunsford, and even guys like Thierry Pastel, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Robbie Robinson. All these guys have great attributes, however, the name that really stands out to me is Brian Buchanan. Now, he may not have the best conditioning ever, nor the largest set of quads or arms, however, his proportions in this pose were just next level. His large, booming arms and tiny waistline helped him create the best X-frame in my opinion, and he is super classic looking too, with near flawless lines. Objectively speaking, though, Ronnie Coleman probably has the best front double ever, as his arms, quads, and width all help him create the best, objectively speaking, front double. So I guess we've got a double outcome. No pun intended, as subjectively I do prefer Brian, while Ronnie would objectively win on stage between the two. The front lat spread is a lot easier of a pose to judge than the previous one, as I do believe there are a few clear-cut candidates. First, let's take a look at the aesthetic guys like Flex Wheeler and Kevin Levrone, who always looked super good in the front lat spread. They had perfect proportions and symmetry, and both had immaculate shape and flow, and both also had pretty decent but not standout lats. Alright, so now let's take a look at the freak factor guys, and there are two that stand out in my mind right away, those two being Ronnie and Dorian. To keep it simple, Ronnie wins in virtually every body part apart from the lats, while Dorian would win in the lats, of course. This is because Dorian presented by far the best set of lats from the front of all time, while Ronnie does beat Dorian in the areas like the arms, legs, chest, and shoulders mass-wise. Personally, I do believe that these two absolutely smack anyone else. I mean, no one even comes close. However, it is extremely close between the two. When I think of a front lat spread, though, I do think of Dorian's imposing package, which is completely dominated by the freakiest lats of all time. Ronnie is just a little too freaky everywhere, which I think detracts from the overall focal point of the pose, the lats. Moreover, Ronnie had a little bit of trouble striking the shot later on in his career, while Dorian always nailed the pose. The side chest pose is a great shot for so many bodybuilders. Guys like Ronnie, Big Ramy, Kevin Levrone, Phil Heath, Kai Green, Marcus Rule, and even more classic guys like Serge Nubret, Lou Ferrigno, and even Arnold all have super good side chest poses. There are so many, so many impressive guys in this shot. I do feel bad for leaving out so many outstanding guys. However, there really is only one guy that truly mastered the pose, and that man is the one, the only, the legend, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, he by far had the best chest insertions, proportions-wise, and his side chest pose truly highlighted this. Sure, his side leg wasn't anywhere near as good as some of the aforementioned guys. I'm not claiming that, Kai Green, Phil Heath, even Kevin Levrone, for goodness sakes, would smoke him in that aspect. However, his aesthetics and shape in the side chest are what many consider to be perfection. His chest truly dominated the pose, like Dorian and Dorian's lats, and his large arms and massive frame helped him to create the most dominating, imposing side chest in my opinion. The rear double biceps pose is once again an amazing shot for so many bodybuilders. Some underrated but impressive nonetheless bodybuilders in this pose would be, a guy like Art Atwood or Jean-Pierre Fuchs or even Momo Benaziza. Some more well-known guys, of course, are Samir Bannout, Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates, Phil Heath, and Kai Green. Objectively speaking, though, I think this is really between Ronnie and Dorian, as both present very comparable packages, just with with, different options. Ronnie had the better lower half with incredibly developed glutes and hamstrings, while Dorian had the better back. I do think that in the actual pose, while Dorian does have the superior back, Ronnie's lower body advantage, coupled with his absolutely, cannons for arms, give him the advantage here. I will tell you that while Ronnie objectively has the best rear double, I prefer Samir's over anyone else's in this pose. His back has always looked to be the most aesthetic of all time, in my opinion, and I just love his proportions, guys. So, like in the front double, the rear double has a dual subjective and objective outcome. The rear lat spread is extremely similar to the rear double, so I'll try to keep it quick and concise. Quickly, though, I'll just list off some underrated guys in this pose. You've guys like Orville Burke, Dennis Wolf, and Jean Pierre Fuchs, who all had amazing rear lat spreads. While they were pretty good, I'll immediately tell you that this is between Ronnie and Dorian again. Before anyone else gets upset that I didn't mention Phil, I do believe that he never had the width to compete with these two. Sure, he was thick and detailed, but so were Ronnie and Dorian, who easily had a clear width advantage. So between Ronnie and Dorian, I've got to give it to Dorian. Now that the arms play little to no role, Dorian just narrowly squeezes out a win here. This is because his legs are really good too, as he has great hamstrings and glutes, and they might not be as good as Ronnie's by any means, but he does make up for it in the calves. Moreover, he has a great back that was just a tad bit more grainy than Ronnie's, and I've always admired the thickness, condition, and the width that he presented. Ronnie was great too, but like in the front lat spread, he wasn't always the most consistent within the pose, and Yates always was. This one really could go either way though, so please let me know who you prefer and why. The side tricep has a few truly standout bodybuilders who can claim to be the best in this pose. Those being guys like Rolly Winkler, Phil Heath, Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone, Jay Cutler, Dorian Yates, and even Lee Priest. Some older guys like Serge Nubret and Danny Padilla had amazing aesthetic side triceps as well, but fall a little bit short in the lower half. Personally, I think the only difference between all the more modern guys I mentioned is posing and aesthetics. Guys like Flex and Kevin had extremely good shape and flow, but other guys like Dorian or Rolly had unique ways of displaying their triceps, while also showcasing ridiculous mass. Jay and Phil presented some of the best conventional side triceps, with Jay having an amazing midsection while Phil had a great tricep. Subjectively speaking, now I don't think this is actually the best side tricep, but like I said, subjectively speaking, I love Kevin Levroni's side tricep. Sure, his side leg isn't the largest nor the most detailed, however, he looks so aesthetic and shapely. The three-dimensional pop and roundness that he had in the pose was just unbelievable. And like I said, I believe that his aesthetics just seal the deal. Objectively speaking, though, maybe Rolly has the best side tricep. He has an incredible side leg and an incredible side, tricep overall. However, I do believe that Jay Cutler may also have the best side tricep. That midsection was flawless, and his execution in the pose was near perfection. It's definitely close between him and Rolly, so once again, I'd say that this is a dual outcome of sorts, but please let me know down below who you think has the best side try. The ab and thigh has seen many greats hit this pose near perfectly, with guys like Sean Ray, Frank Zane, Sean Roden, Charles Claremont, Andrew Jacked, and a whole host of others hitting this pose to spec. One guy that does stand out in particular, though, and many of you may see this coming, is the Sultan of Symmetry, Flex Wheeler. The name really does say it all. Not only was he super symmetrical and aesthetic, he carried just the right amount of mass where it mattered. His quads were also super feathered and detailed, along with being massive, of course, and his midsection was one of the best, top 5 for sure in my opinion. The only knock on this guy would be his narrowness and the lack of a very significant V-taper. However, his bubbly, three-dimensional muscle bellies really carry him here. Overall, I do believe that he showcased the best combination of mass and aesthetics in this pose, but I could see someone preferring Ray or someone else I mentioned. The most muscular, by far the freakiest pose of all of them, is definitely a hard one to call. Most recently, a guy like Michael Krizo has definitely come across my mind as he presented one of the craziest looking most musculars. Some other names like Ronnie Coleman, Kevin Levrone, Phil Heath, and Dennis Wolf presented insane structures and conditioned dense muscle. Out of everyone, though, I think it really does come down to Phil and Ronnie. Phil had that 3D pop to his muscles like Kevin, but on a whole nother level, guys. His muscle bellies in the arms and the delts just popped. However, he was sort of narrow in the pose. Now, Ronnie wasn't narrow at all, but he lacked that same three-dimensional quality. He did have insane muscularity and thin skin condition, which looks insanely freaky and amazing when seeing any picture of him. I do feel that both present very different packages in the most muscular, so it makes it a very difficult pose to judge. Personally, though, I feel that Ronnie was a tad bit better, as I've never been more wowed than when I saw Ronnie's 1999 Most Muscular. Absolutely insane stuff. However, I could easily see you giving this to Phil, as his Most Muscular fullness and roundness is truly next level. Alright, so that about does it for this video. I know this video was more on the fun side rather than being super analytical or objective. However, I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Please let me know what you think about each pose, if you think someone else should take the place of another, or if you agree with my list. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed watching this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one too. Thanks for watching.